Hey guys, it's Hunter. Welcome back to another episode of ASKgufish. Real quick before we jump into this one, I've had a suggestion that I'm strongly considering. Basically with these guitar demos, I feel like a lot of the time I end up saying kind of the same things. And so someone brought up the point about, hey, maybe having some sort of grading rubric might be a useful addition. So it'd be kind of like 10 different points, stuff like, I don't know, build quality or feature set, originality, aesthetics, and each category would get a score out of 10 for a final total out of 100. And in the past, I've been very hesitant about giving scores, like quantifying how good a guitar is, because then it becomes less of a demo and more of a review, and I've always wanted you guys to kind of make up your own minds about gear. At the same time, the amount of personal opinion I throw into the demos, they basically become reviews sometimes. And I'm not gonna lie, it would be nice to have some sort of scale as opposed to just saying, yeah, the frets were level, the fingerboard edges were rounded, feature set is pretty good for the money. Yeah, but how good for the money, you know what I mean? And also, for example, like numbers might be useful when comparing similar guitars head to head. Anyways, just a thought. Let me know what you think. In the meantime, you guys had questions over on Discord. Don't forget to join if you've got questions for a future episode. Smash the fuck out of that like button. Let's get the hell into it. I don't know why that was so aggressive. Anyways, here we go. Did not break a $6,900 Nocaster. Nice, also unlucky. Asks thoughts on the new Harley Benton MR series, the modern classic takes on the Mosrite shape. Oh yes, I was hoping someone would bring this up because guess who helped spec these out and choose the colors? So about a year ago, Toman came to me and asked, hey, so what do you think of this body shape? And I said, I mean, looks interesting, looks like it would make for a great baritone. And they were like, okay, I guess. So the new MR series is obviously Harley Benton's affordable take on the Mosrite theme of guitars. You know, slightly modified body shape, so it's not a direct copy, but still very much retains the strong inspiration, the surf rock vibe, and also retains that weird thing where the lower horn is longer than the upper horn, and that fucking pisses me off. Like, it just makes me irrationally angry for no reason. But I'll admit, it kind of works with the rest of the guitar with the offset headstock, angled neck pickup, and the MRs are split into two variations, classic and modern. The classics are, well, just that. Very classic colors in black, white, cranberry red sparkle, blue sparkle, and sunburst, which also comes in left-handed. Finally, a launch party you lefties are invited to. Carved basswood bodies, 22 medium frets, Clouson style Wilkinson tuners, fixed bridge, graphite nut, and two Artec P90 pickups. Never tried Artec before, no idea if they're good, but at $250 for the entire guitar, even if they're shit, it's forgivable. There's such a massive pickup shortage right now in import factories, so I guess that's why there aren't Roswells or Wilkinsons or Teslas or any of the usual suspects in these guitars. So these are cool, whatever. If you've got that classic Mosrite itch, these will scratch it without breaking the bank. The moderns are far more interesting though. Same body shape, but this time in alder. You might notice the pickups are now soap bar sized humbuckers. They can be split using the push-pull. The bridge is now a Wilkinson 2-point trem tusk nut from the Nutmasters. The Wilkinson tuners on this one are locking, and instead of roasted Jatoba, we've got a Makassar ebony fingerboard with stainless steel frets for that ultra smooth feel. So essentially, we took some of the fan favorite specs to create a modern, souped up version on this classic theme that no one else is doing in the affordable space. It's like a lot of other manufacturers forget, hey, there's some other cool shapes besides the Super Strat, and you don't have to just copy the exact same stuff that's been made for the last 50, 60, 70 years. The way I view it, it's okay to update some of the themes using technology those old brands would have used weren't available back then. And the technology available at these Indonesian factories now, the way you can spec these guitars out, it's insane. Why not take advantage of that? And the last I checked, these moderns were being sold, all that, for $350. Man, if you've never tried a baritone guitar, they're fucking awesome. That's the only way I can describe it. They're not just awesome, they're fucking awesome. Unlike a 7-string or an 8-string or a 9-string, you can get super low using that long scale length, and it still feels like playing a guitar instead of like a harp, or I don't know, maybe not that ridiculous. But extended range guitars, to me, they're awesome, they have their place, but they feel like playing completely different instruments. Especially recently, people have been rediscovering how awesome baritone jazz masters and Cabernitas and things like that are. Sorry, how fucking awesome things like that are. So we decided to include a 27-inch scale length version of both the classic and the modern in sunburst, matching headstock and everything, super low tune P90s. Yes, the classic version of the baritone even comes in left-handed. Listen, lefties, I've been pushing for you. Lassa and I have a lot of conversations about being as good as Schecter to lefties because Lord knows y'all don't always feel the love. Anyways, that's the new MR series. Obviously, I really like them. It's affordable and updated takes on kind of a super old school cult classic, and it's something different from what other brands offer or even can offer at this price point. But this is where I'll throw it to you. What are your thoughts on these models? Are there any other cult classics you'd like to see updated with modern features like 2-point trems, stainless steel frets? And what about a demo, especially with the baritones? Those might be a truckload of fun. Any and all thoughts, leave them down below in the comments, because I promise you, for better or worse, as far as my mental health is concerned, I do look at everything. But you know what's never worse for my mental health? Today's sponsor, DistroKid. Now, I love DistroKid, and you've probably heard me talk about them before because they're hands down the best way to get your music onto all the major platforms. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, Amazon, iHeartRadio if you use that. The point is, if it streams music, DistroKid will get you on there. They're a fantastic service that eliminates all the headaches. Uploading a song is just a few clicks. If it's a cover, they'll even help you get the license, which is insanely helpful. And a big reason as to why and so many others love and use DistroKid is because they're musician focused, and they're constantly improving the service to better serve modern artists. They're always adding new features to the membership, like splits for all collaborators to get paid fairly, promo cards to advertise new releases on social media, and one of my favorite features called synced lyrics. You know, when lyrics automatically scroll on Apple Music or on Instagram, those are synced lyrics. And with DistroKid, you can automatically create and upload them for all your tracks so listeners can follow along and really engage with your music. DistroKid also doesn't take any cuts. All revenue earned from your music is yours. Pricing starts at just $20 a year for unlimited uploads, but if you use my link in the description, you can snag a bonus 7% off. Plus, clicking the link helps support the channel by letting them know that I sent you. So if you've got music, let it be heard with DistroKid. And while you're checking them out, let's get into the next question. Dave asks, do you ever feel guilty about abusing the lowest string? Fuck no. I relish in punishing the shit out of the lowest string on any guitar, and you should too. Wintermint P asks, Aristides just launched their H09 series guitars. Thoughts? Yeah, speaking of punishing the crap out of the lowest string, it seems like a fun one to do just that. Like, okay, I'm a fucking Les Paul player, dude. I play dad-ass boomer guitars. I may play them in a way that pisses boomers off, like none of that edge of breakup nonsense or whatever, but they are dad guitars nonetheless. So a 9-string with no headstock, well, I guess that's something they might have in common with Les Pauls. Emotional, damn it! But, yeah, nah. Totally not my thing at all. I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to abuse that low string though. And actually, I've been really wanting to make a full demo video on an Aristides. If you've never heard of them, they're a super cool boutique brand out of the Netherlands that have been making huge waves in the metal world. Partially because the build quality is absolutely insane, but also their guitars have no natural wood in them. They're made of something called Arium that was developed by Dutch scientists to be the perfect material for instruments. They studied the cell structures of the most sought after woods to identify what makes a material resonate, what makes a material sustain. And then Aristides uses a mold, so the entire guitar, the body and the neck, is just one big piece of Arium. I don't know how to pronounce it, we move. And the fingerboards are made of Richlite as well, which feels like a flawless piece of ebony, basically. So yeah, no real wood used in the guitar at all. Then all the in vogue metal specs, stainless steel frets, hipshot hardware and tuners, lumen lays. You can see all the electronics from the back, which is awesome. Yeah, I just love these alternative material guitars like Aristides, like Illuminati with their Nebula series, chambered lucite bodies with aluminum necks. They've just released a baritone aluminum neck, by the way. Awesome. But I like these guitars not only because they're small steps towards being more sustainable, but also wood is fickle. Wood does not like changes in temperature. It doesn't like changes in humidity. Alternative materials like aluminum, like Richlite, like Arium, they're just more reliable. Plus, I've played an Illuminati Nebula. It's just really cool. It's like playing a guitar from the future. But yeah, as far as Aristides goes, love the concept, really want to try one, but their headless 9-string is just not appealing to me whatsoever. They've got a vintage-ish 020, and their T is really dope, but I'm still waiting for them to make a proper single cut before I open my wallet. Cornwall asks, have you seen the new Meteora guitar and bass? Not in person yet, but I am so glad they've made the Meteora part of the proper production lineup. I'm also glad they called it Meteora. I choose to believe it's a nod to Linkin Park, although it's 100% not that. So the Meteora started life as part of Fender's Parallel Universe series, basically their experimental line of taking familiar concepts and combining them in new and interesting ways. And the Meteora was a brand new offset body shape with a telly pickup set and control scheme. And this slightly odd take on the offset turned out to be a surprise hit, because after that first run, it returned as a limited edition double humbucker Parallel Universe model, and now it's back as part of the permanent lineup in the Player Plus series. So that means 12-inch fingerboard radius, that means Fender locking tuners, and in this case, it also means a Strat-style 2-point tremolo, which the Meteora has never had before, and dual Fireball humbuckers, which fooled me because they're styled like wide-range humbuckers, and with a name like Fireball, they better bring the heat. They've also included an S1 switch to split the humbuckers. Comes in Bel Air Blue and Cosmic Jade with a Palfaro fingerboard, then 3-color Sunburst, and an awesome Silver Burst with a maple fingerboard. The Silver Burst looks fantastic. Weirdly, I'm sure there have been others, but this is the only Fender I can remember that comes with pickup rings. It just stood out to me so much on every color besides Silver Burst because it looks kind of weird with cream pickup rings that don't match the pickguard. Regardless, there's also a bass version, and I think the small offset shape actually suits the bass better than the guitar, and it's got some cool features too. Double Fireball humbuckers in a bass, as well as 3-band active EQ. Comes in the same colors as the guitars apart from Cosmic Jade, which has been replaced with Tequila Sunrise. And so this model got me thinking, Fender's absolutely killing it, because consider this, Coachella is happening right now, and while it's not the only one, it's a huge pop music festival, a ton of different artists, some of the biggest current pop stars, and I've been seeing videos pop up in my YouTube recommendations, and there are a lot of people playing guitar, and for the most part, they're all playing Fenders. Offsets in particular. One notable exception is Phoebe Bridgers, who is rocking a BC Rich War Beast Extreme. Fucking awesome. But Fender has done a great job at connecting with the next generation of musicians. Part of that is price. Fenders are just more affordable than Gibsons and other set neck guitars because bolt-ons are less expensive and less time consuming to produce. That was kind of the whole point when Leo Fender designed these things back in the 1950s, 1960s. But yeah, it was just interesting. The current crop of young players seems to favor Fender offsets. And it's not just in pop music, by the way. Both the guitarists in Wage War use Jim Root Jazzmasters. Seth has one that's been refinished in orange, which looks sick, and Cody was even using a regular Jazzmaster with an EMG 81 just slapped into the bridge. But anyways, just some food for thought. Fender's doing great, and offsets are cool. But what do you think of the new Player Plus Meteoras? A fun fact about the Meteora, actually, there's one sitting in a box in my hallway, I believe. Unboxing video coming soon. A Decent Meal asks, Gene Simmons bass? Gibson, meanwhile, is still shamelessly going after the boomers. Like, does the younger generation even know who Kiss is, besides that they're boomer juggalos? That meme had me rolling for days. Like, okay, even I don't care about Kiss. I guarantee you my younger cousins give even less of a shit. Regardless, the G2 Thunderbird actually looks pretty sick as far as basses go. So, we discussed the G2 collaboration announcement last year. It's like a Gene Simmons signature collection with the Gibson family of brands. Eventually, it'll encompass Epiphone, Kramer. The original announcement said something about guitars as well. But obviously, Gene Simmons is a bass player. It makes sense that the first G2 release is a Gibson bass. So, according to the Gibson website, it was, quote, designed to meet the musical needs of modern bassists, which is not how I would describe Gene Simmons, but we move. It's got Soap Bar T-Bird pickups, a Graphtec nut, Hipshot bass bridge. That's the first time I've seen Hipshot on a Gibson production model, so that's cool. Hipshot Mini Clover tuners as well. I love the aesthetics, a black Thunderbird with white binding from the body to the ebony fingerboard, and the mirror accents on the truss rod cover, the pick guard, and the G2 logo on the back of the headstock. As I said, I really don't care about Kiss. Gene Simmons, I know more from the ridiculous things he says, more than I know him as a musician, but that's a pretty dope offset bass, I have to say. I like it better than the Meteora.
Okay, boomer.
And I'd love to see this as a guitar version. Like, can you imagine a Firebird with those mirror accents and a Hipshot hardtail? Obviously, an Epiphone version that isn't $2,800 would be nice. In general, I'm not a fan of the price on this thing. A regular Thunderbird bass is $500 less, and that has a 9-ply mahogany walnut neck through construction. This G2 has a set neck, which I don't have a problem with, but neck through is just one of those things that makes a Thunderbird or a Firebird a Firebird. It's like, I don't know, hot wings without the bone in. This bass is the equivalent of boneless wings in this scenario. It's just not the same without it. Anyways, just some of my thoughts. Let me know what you think of the G2 Thunderbird down below. Iskari asks, what is your guilty pleasure guitar? You know, I've never really believed in the concept of a guilty pleasure. I like the things I like, you like the things you like, just fucking enjoy it. The phrase guilty pleasure implies that you give a shit about what other people think about you enjoying something you like. And fuck that. If you enjoy something, just enjoy the shit out of it. But yeah, also the MGK Schecter is my current guilty pleasure guitar. I can't help it. I love it. Now it's time to hear from yet another adoring fan. It's the high praise of the week. I hate you solely, spelled wrong, for just seeing you hold that fucking pink garbage. You must be some kind of shitty human. Yes, it must be me that is the shitty human in this situation. Hey, so keep this on your radar. Orange has a new tube head. It's a limited edition signature amp for Grammy-nominated artist Marcus King. It's called the MK Ultra, and there's a lot of firsts here for Orange. It's built for kind of bluesy southern rock, like a uniquely American sound, and as such, this is the first Orange amp built in the USA and uses 6L6s in the 30-watt power section rather than the British-style EL34s. The control scheme is nuts. It literally has 3 knobs. Deep or bass, volume is the giant one in the middle, and then sing or treble. The volume knob also increases the saturation. Essentially, you'll start to get some really nice tube breakup the more you crank it, allegedly, and that's a theme with Orange amps especially. The volume control is hugely sensitive, and you can get a vast array of sounds with just that alone. You know, it's not really my thing, especially at $3,300. Like, that's a lot to spend on an amp that does not chug, but still, seems like a cool piece of gear to keep your eye on if you're into that kind of thing. Are we gonna get another video on the studio build? Yep, off to edit that part now, actually. It'll probably end up being a 4-part series at this point. But now that we're reaching the end of the video, in case you missed that, since last episode I uploaded part 1 of designing and building my dream studio. Shiv and I bought a house, and I've got a whole room dedicated to build the ultimate content creation space, and Sweetwater has foolishly decided to indulge my whack-ass ideas. Then Monoprice, of all people, the brand known for making affordable, generic versions of electronics like HDMI cables and headphones, has jumped into the guitar game with a house brand called Indio, and they've got this HSS offset thing that's actually pretty sick with a tremolo and rounded fingerboard edges, and even in a period of insane inflation, it's still only $150. In a world where even Squier Affinities are now over $300, that is incredible. And it's a budget HSS Jazzmaster. No one else is even doing that. Love it. I guess it's a Jazzcaster or a Stratmaster, but we move. And then, of course, if you haven't seen the last Ask-A-Fish episode, we talked Epiphone Jerry Cantrell leaks, including a signature prophecy, which, like, what the fuck? We talked Digitech possibly dying or being bought, and we talked a potentially teased Machine Gun Kelly signature collection of guitars, and why that might actually be a good thing despite his music giving my soul a headache. And I'll leave links to all those in the cards and in the the description. And shout out to all my wonderful patrons for making this and all the other content possible. Every one of you is amazing. If you want to support the channel as well, consider joining the Patreon community for bonus extras. But for now, that's all I've got. That'll do it for this episode of Askgufish. Social media, Discord, and affiliate links are in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. You've been awesome, and I'll see you for the next video.